Hi everyone, this is Manjishta, your podcast host, and today we are going to talk about a topic which is not really talked about, but these things certainly happen in relationship. So, before moving on to this topic, this podcast is a very safe space for people to come and listen to us and know certain things about relationship, how you can improve it, why therapy is important, what are the red flags in your man, and how you can catch this kind of person, how to be alert with this kind of person. So, yeah, let's get started. So, today's topic is how to identify gaps in relationships. See, these kinds of gaps are not very loud. You have to subtly understand these things. These gaps can come off as lesser conversation, lesser sharing things each other, no dramatic fights, no dramatic endings, but there is also not a very deep connection. And these things are normal. These things happen to people when they spend a considerable amount of years with their partner. These things happen, but also mending these things are very important to grow your relationship, to have even a stronger bond. So, yes, let's get started. How would you identify these gaps in relationship? Conversation becomes shorter, laugh becomes lesser, you start avoiding certain things, and worst of all, you feel alone in this relationship. You feel hurt, sometimes you feel misunderstood. So these things also happen when there are gaps in your relationship. That is why it is very important to fill them. Over times, if you don't fill them, there is a space that starts growing in your relationship between you and your partner. You start talking about only work, about food, about very simple things, not very deep things that you used to talk about. Romance starts fading, and you just treat each other not like a romantic partner, but a roommate, if it goes to that extreme extent. But it is not about feelings, it is not about fears, it is not about needs. You are not emotionally taking it. You know, you are emotionally drifting from that person. You might feel misunderstood, as I said. Intimacy feels different, or it might also feel forced. Physical intimacy, emotional closeness, or even simple affection, these feel like effort rather than flowing in. These feelings should flow in a relationship, not forced. If it feels forced, it becomes some pressure on you. You start avoiding conflict, you don't face it, you start escaping it. Instead of resolving issue, you stay quiet, you ignore the problems, you say it's fine even when it is not fine. So these avoidance has to be fixed. It builds emotional distance. You feel more like individual than a team. What is relationship? You and your partner, you both are a team. You love each other, you care for each other, you feel romantic, you feel like bubble whenever you see that person. But that thing disappears, and the teamness that both of you had when you supported each other, when you were there for each other in the darkest times, feeling that feeling of a team, that feeling of a togetherness, that fades away. This is one of the biggest gaps, right? This is one of the dangerous gaps which also leads to decline of a relationship. And why these gaps happen? These happen because emotional needs change. What you wanted 1 or 2 years ago might have changed in the present situation. You might not need it today. People stop checking it. At start, we ask, how are you feeling? What do you need? Oh, do you want to tell me something? I'm always there for you. Those soft words disappear. And those connection also feels bland. There is also fear of vulnerability. Many people think that it might cause more problems, so they stay silent. They don't want to talk. They don't want to, mess with their mind by talking it out. Maybe they are very uncomfortable diving deep into that sea. So, this silence also creates a bigger problem. So, one of the lesson here is you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Another thing is very common, during these couples with these couples is routine takes over. You go to office, you have a tedious time there, you work all day, you come to home and you feel tired. You don't have time for each other and you just want to take rest. You just want to enjoy your personal time, your leisure, and that's why the emotional draft more happens rather than spending time with each other more. Work, stress, responsibilities play a big role in creating these gaps. So, what initiatives should you take? Now, the important part is you don't fix a relationship while waiting. If you wait, the gaps will grow longer, the distance will draft more. So, here's what you can do: start having honest conversation, not blaming, not accusing, but being honest with each other. Even if you are wrong, say that I am wrong, but I am willing to change it. So, that is one thing that you should do in the relationship. It feels like we have been distant lately. I miss how we used to talk. You can say all these things to your partner, and it might also affect your partner deeply emotionally. And that's how you both can mend things in that relationship. Listen and understand, not react. You should not react when your partner is truthful to you. You should understand, grasp what is happening inside them, how they are feeling, and then try to respond and understand them. If you understand them, it makes a relationship more prettier. And when this understanding reciprocates, it it solves half the problem. Yeah. Reveal emotional intimacy again. Before physical closeness, emotional closeness plays a biggest part. Love is not about all intimacy. It's also about what you think of each other, how you feel for each other, how what perception do you have of each other. That is also love. So first, you have to emotionally mend things. Ask deeper questions. Spend more time with them. Talk to them about your relationships. Talk to them about future. How you can make this relationship better. Understand yourself. A quiet hug, a very emotional fill hug also does the work. So these small things also makes the emotional connection more tighter. Now, when you think that there is some issue in your relationship, sit down with your partner, talk to them, and then you will know more what is the problem. You will discover the problem, what problem is actually affecting your relationship. That's how you will know your problem, all the problems that you have in your relationship. So that is another solution, that you can do with your partner. And small conversation prevents big breakdown. So, conversation, understanding each other, moving forward is very important to have a successful relationship. Okay. Take responsibility. You just can't expect your partner to change when you don't change. So, first, you have to take responsibility. You have to identify problems in yourself. You have to talk it out and also point the problems of your partner. And they also should understand. If your partner does not understand, that is a hassle. But your partner also has to understand, and then you both will work on yourself. Look, you both cannot change each other by force, by anything else. But when you understand the problem, वो अपने आप से ही ठीक हो जाता है. Everything becomes fine by then. Create an us time. Make a time for yourself and your partner. Maybe 2 to 3 hours. In these 3 hours, nothing can distract you and your partner. Nothing can distract. And then you will talk more about your relationship. Then you will talk more what is affecting. You will have quality time, and intimacy and love will start creating by then already. You will see the spark in your relationship that you felt when you first saw each other. Okay. And here's the truth: every relationship has gaps, as I said earlier. But not all people, all couples focus on fixing them. By fixing them, you can make a big change and make your relationship grow and feel steady. Love is not about chemistry, always. Love is about awareness and intention. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Go, face it, fight it, and then come back as victorious. Distance does not happen in one day. It takes small things to create distance. So today, take one step and every day move forward and build your relationship. Because sometimes fixing a relationship is not quite a big change, but it just needs two people to understand each other and the intention of moving forward with that relationship. So if this resonates with you, share it with someone who you want to take these steps further, who needs to hear it, and it would help someone to grow. And also remember, healthy relationships aren't perfect, they are worked. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming and listening to this podcast brought to you by Intimax Wellness.